Hey guys, it's Marta. The roses started blooming, so I thought we could meet today and I will talk about the roses, the ones that I love, the ones that have beautiful scent, and also the diseases and the pests that are troubling our roses. Let's go. We'll start here with this rose, which in Polish I call her the Gratis rose, which means free of charge rose. I got this rose once when I had a big order of roses, and one was as a gift from the company, and it did not have a name. And I was like, where do I put it? And I put it in the gravel. I did not add any compost. I didn't add anything like I do with all of my roses. And this rose has been surprising me ever since because it's very prolific, it's very healthy. No green flies are bothering her, and beautiful. It's called Blue Wunder. It's a German rose, doesn't have any scent, but looks beautiful and beautifully intertwines with my bench today, more so than usual because we just had a huge rain. But I really like how she grows into the bench, and it looks like the nature and the furniture are stuck together, and I really like this vibe of the garden when you can see like the bench has been overgrown with plants. I think it reminds me of some kind of secret gardens that were left out, so this is why I really love it. So I always get questions like, can you tell me which rose is the most healthy one, the most reliable, which one is it? It's not an easy question because I've been growing roses for many years now, and I know that each year can be different. The same rose that one year is super healthy, is blooming prolifically, no pests, no diseases, the next year can be totally different in the same position. And I have the same roses in different positions in my own garden, which is not that big, and they can perform so much different because of the situations they are in. And it's very hard to say that this rose will never get disease, or this nothing will happen to it. So I just don't believe that's true. But if I was to say which roses are the most reliant, I would say the ground cover roses. I have only fairy in my garden, but when I go into the city that we live near, this is the capital of Poland, Warsaw, there are a lot of roses, and they are ground cover roses next to the like condominiums of flats or in the center of the city, and they are en masse and they are very healthy. They are blooming for a very long time, and I always laugh that if I mowed fairy rose with a mower, it would bloom perfect. You don't have to be very diligent with the pruning of it. So I think the ground cover roses for the beginners would be the best ones to try. So we'll talk about the health of the roses in a second, but the other question I get the most often is, which rose is the most beautiful one in your opinion? And in my opinion, I don't think one is more beautiful than others. I think it's the same if we are talking about people. It's not like someone is the prettiest in the world. It depends on who is looking at the person and what we like. It's the same with the roses. One day the petals will be beautiful, the next day will be wet, and the rose will not look beautiful. Some of them, the full ones, will mummify and they will look very ugly. And so I try to enjoy them every day. I don't say this one is the most beautiful. In terms of scent, yes, some of them have more beautiful scent to me, but it's also personal preference. Let's just compare each one of us using perfume. So everyone will choose something different. We'll not be all using the same perfume because we like different scents. So I think if a rose speaks to you in terms of how it looks like, you should try it out and see if it works. And in terms of scent, it would be wonderful to go to a garden center to smell the roses and to see which scent speaks to you. So the roses in this border are mixed roses. I have some English roses like Brother Catfile, and also different types of roses. I think Eglantine is also here. Also Maria Theresia, this is not an English rose, Natasha Richardson, and First Lady. What they have in common is the color, and I wanted different roses to see a bit different types of blooms, and they correspond nicely because of the color. And of course we have a lot of purple from different perennials, which also bump up this beautiful pink. And is any of them my favorite? No, I just like them as a composition. Each one is different, so we have a nice variety. Today I wanted to show you my roses that I did not touch for a few days, and you will see how it really looks like, because when you have the first days when roses start to bloom, you don't have any rain, it looks perfect. You just go and you're like, oh my god, this is so wonderful. But then you will get the rain and some of the petals will change the color, some of the flowers of the more full ones will mummify, then some of the flowers will be spent and they will not look that perfect. And of course, when we're making videos, I always want the flower beds to look pristine, but then you don't have the time to just enjoy them. So sometimes I'm like, Michael, wait, I will just take 2 of them, they will look better. But then I think it's good to show you how it looks like after a few days, because you will be more aware of how the life with roses looks like. That heading is a thing you can do all the time, or you can just be chill, don't do it, and enjoy them, even though sometimes it's not perfect. So I get a lot of questions about the roses' health. You're watching the videos and you're saying, oh my god, your roses look so healthy. What do you do? How often do you spray them? With the black spot, I don't spray them at all. I think this is a thing. When you have roses, you will have black spot no matter what. But depending on the severity of this black spot, I get it on a lot of roses. I would say most of the roses at the end of the season have it. Hopefully I don't have it until summer. If there is some black spot on the lower leaves, I just try to remove them, and that is all I do. If I were to spray the roses for black spot, I think I should do it every few even days, and you have to like get the whole rose in the chemicals, and I don't want to do it. I don't have a problem with a tiny black spot. The plants are not pristine, they don't look perfect like they're on, you know, Chelsea flower show, but I'm not spraying all the time. This is what I do not want to do in my garden, to be, you know, chemicals all the time. The only time I spray my roses is for mildew, because when I don't, it will spread all over the place. It will not only spread on roses, but it will also spread on other plants. So I usually need just one spraying. I'm using Polish thing called Scorpion, and it's usually enough. Sometimes it's 2 times, but for black spot I don't do anything. I wanted to show you this part because it's one of my favorite parts in the garden, because I've changed it and I really like the change. I like to twist something, change something, and then it looks like something new. I've shown you these roses before. These are the roses that are around my bedroom window. So when I look at my garden, I can see almost the whole back of the garden from my bedroom window. I am all covered in roses and I really like it. They are all pastel colors, so gentle pink, whites, maybe a bit of pink mixed with apricot. And this year I wanted to change something. So I changed because I had a few lavender bushes which were terrible. They didn't bloom properly. They were the flowers were ugly. They were laying all over the place, and they finally died, and I was really happy because I didn't like them. So this year I planted Stevola. It's very purple. It gives us this nice vibe under the roses. I also have this low-growing Verbena bonariensis. I really like it because it's not that tall, and this is and a lot of annuals, and they are all pastel-like, a bit colder colors. Really love them. Let's talk about the scent of the rose. I think scents are so personal. We take them in and they are so connected to our memories when we were kids. Something you remember. It's just you you smell some kind of scent and you remember something. So I think it's so personal. Whenever I choose perfume, I would go for peony, rose, and sometimes maybe jasmine. So these are my types of fragrances. But when I go and smell the perfume, sometimes it's the same flowers, but some I like, some I don't. It's the same with the roses. So I think for me, the core memory is the garden of my grandma, who had all type of roses. And whenever I smell the rose and the scent is similar, I really love it. So I think it's so much personal. But if I were to choose the roses that have the most beautiful scent, I would always go for David Austin roses. Not all of them will have the beautiful scent, but some of my favorites are Crown Princess Margareta, Boscobel I really love, Jeff Hamilton, Queen of Sweden, Spirit of Freedom. These are the roses I really go to, dig my nose in, and I have this pleasant experience. Okay, now let's talk about the rose maintenance now at the beginning of the summer. So I will prune either the single flowers when they are spent, if I have time. If I don't, I wait for the whole stem of flowers to be spent, and then I will prune the stem. If I want the rose to be more compact, I will prune harder, and I will go definitely lower. Sometimes I will even cut off like 40 centimeters off the branch. If I want the rose to be higher, I will just prune behind a leaf that has 5 single leaves right after this leaf, and then I will make my rose bloom again. For the second blooming, they will need more fertilizer. I am using this fertilizer. This is the rose fertilizer. This is a Polish brand, but to tell you what is inside, of course, we have the classic NPK. So we have nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and please forgive my English chemistry, but we have magnesium, sulfur, bore, copper, iron, mangan, and molybdenum and zinc. Hopefully these are the English names. If not, please forgive me and please write me in the comments. And I'm usually using this fertilizer when I prune my roses. So I remember, if I prune, then I add the fertilizer. Of course, always read the description on the package, how much you should use. This is what roses need, because they need more energy to produce more flowers. Of course, the first moment of blooms is the most abundant one, but I've had years when I had almost the same amount of blooms in the second period of blooms. And also the roses are different. Sometimes you'll have a rose that will only bloom twice, and sometimes you will have the rose that will be blooming throughout the season. And it's not, every year is not the same. Sometimes the same rose will only bloom twice, and then the next year you will have a prolonged season of blooms. So I'm always waiting and looking what will happen this year, and I'm happy if there are more and more flowers. Okay, now let's go to see another border. I'm really loving how the Angela rose is looking right now. This rose is called Angela, and one year I planted it and I wasn't expecting much. I really liked the pictures of this rose, but I think it was her third year when I was amazed by it, because it's just one plant. It has a lot of flowers in the clusters, and they are open ones. If the life and the well-being of pollinators is something you care about, you will love this rose, because our pollinators love the flowers that are open. If you have a rose that has a lot of petals, they cannot get in easily. And if you have a lot of smaller flowers that are open, the pollinators, it's easier for them to get in. And this one really blew my mind. After 3 years, when I looked at it, I was like, what is this? What is happening in this border? And it survived well during the winter, and it started blooming like this. So with roses, I think it's worth the wait. 2-3 years, they sometimes can surprise you, but I've had roses that were not much, and I was like, what is this with this rose? It took them 5 to 6 years. They were really growing their branches, getting stronger, and then they blew my mind. So sometimes it's worth the wait. This is a different part of the garden, but I wanted to share my Bobby James with you. This is just one rose that grows longer than 4 meters wide, and it needs some time. So with roses it's good to be patient, because when they are younger they are flopping all over the place. They need some time to grow strong stems, and this is what I did with this rose. I was making her stems go vertical and vertical. This is good, right? Vertical, horizontal. I am tired today. You see, horizontal, and then she blooms. She blooms only once, which is a bummer, but I really love how it looks like. A lot of open flowers, good for pollinators, and after she stops blooming, I have a lot of clematis here. So we have her leaves and also a lot of flowers from the clematis. But I think it's good to have a big variety of roses in your garden and to be patient with them, and then you get also a lot of scent. So I like to mix the roses that do not have the scent but are very healthy, have beautiful flowers, but also those ones with beautiful scent. Maybe sometimes they can have more disease, but when you go in the summer in your garden in the evening and it's warm, a bit humid, then you will get those beautiful scents mixing together. Then you hear the sound of the birds, and I think these are the most beautiful evenings in your garden. Okay guys, please let me know in the comments how is it with you and with scents. Do you have like nice memories from the childhood? How are the scents and you? What is the connection with the scents? And please let me know if you have your favorite roses. Why do you love them? Is it the scent? Is it the petals? Is it maybe the whole statue of the shrub? Let me know in the comments. And if you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.